Hi everyone, this is National Master Alessandro Santagati, and in this video we'll see a game played the first game of the tiebreak, the Qatar Master, in which Magnus Carlsen played, the world champion Magnus Carlsen played against the stronger master from China, Yangyi, and Carlsen was white and played d4. Yangyi played knight f6 and bishop f4. So a queen game, e3, e6, knight f3, a6, bishop to d3, c5. So the black tried to attack the center with the push c5, is making pressure about, is attacking the pawn d4, and the idea could be also in the future push the pawn to c4. White played c3, bishop d6, and now bishop g3. Why bishop g3? Because the white idea is allow the trade, but allow this trade to g3, because if the black will trade here, the white can take with the pawn h and can make pressure in the h file against the pawn h7. So this is the idea. Okay, so black played knight c6 to go forward with the development, and Carlsen played knight e2. Castle, knight e5. Knight e5 is a very interesting strategical move. The idea is block the center, and this can be good because the white probably has the idea to attack later on the king side, and if the idea is attack on the side, block the center can be a good idea. So knight e5 is interesting, and now the black played knight e7. Knight e7 is a nice move, and the idea is allow the push of the pawn b, because the main problem for black here is develop the develop the light bishop to in c8, and probably move this bishop to b7 can be an idea for the future. But to do that, you need to push the pawn b, and does not give problem about this square. So the idea about knight e7 is allow the push the form of the pawn b. White played the castle, and now black played b6. I'm not so sure about this move. I prefer the push b5, because in this case the black can try to do something in the future with b4, c4, and try to have a counter attack on the queen side. But you prefer to play b6, and after that Carlsen played bishop h4. It's an interesting move. I think the idea about this move is try to force black to make weakness on the king side, and the idea is make pressure against the knight. Black played knight f5, and now bishop g5 because the bishop was under attack, and now h6, bishop back to f4, and in theory white moved this bishop 1, 2, 3 times. The idea was okay, white lost 3 times, but at the same time the black pushed the pawn h, so now the black castle is weaker, and in the future could be an idea push this pawn to g5 to make pressure and to attack the king side, the black castle. Black played bishop b7, and now h3. This move can allow the white to move this bishop back to h2 to allow g4, so h3 is a useful move, and now bishop e7. a4. Another interesting move, because at this time the white take the square b5, want to avoid the push b5, and a4 is useful for this reason, and can also, not now, but for example, if the black will trade here, can be possible for white to try to make pressure with the queen to b3 and avoid the push b5. So the white can have also a good play on the queen side now. And black played knight e6, and now f3. F3, another interesting move. The idea is take the square e4, push this pawn to g4, and so very nice to prepare an attack from the king side. And now knight e7, queen e2. That at the same time can halt the attack and can block the counter attack that black can try to b5, and knight f6, and now bishop h2. If g4 immediately, can be an idea, could be possible maybe knight h7, and in the future the white will be forced to go back with this bishop, because the idea about g4 is push g5, but when you push the pawn to g4, the black can move the knight, for example, also to d7 in theory, and at the hand the white needs support to push it, so you need to go back with the bishop, and then you need f4 g5. Carlsen, not that when white push g4 need g5, and to play g5 need the output the pawn f. So the Carlsen know that this bishop is better to h2, because when the white will push g4, the pawn f is ready to have the attack. So bishop h2 is another important move. Queen c8, and now rook c1. The Carlsen want to prepare the attack, and the rook c1 is useful because a white move like c takes d4, and if the black will take, the white can simply take with the pawn, and the rook is in a good square. So now a5, and I think a5 is an important strategical mistake, because you know that the white has the idea to push g4, and I think b5 is much better, because the black need a counter attack, and if a takes b5 there is c4, and after bishop b1 I think black is nice because can push b4, and also black can have a nice counter attack on the king, on the queen side. So a takes b5 is very nice. So the idea about b5 followed by c4. Okay, black played a5, I think is a mistake. Carlsen played g4, very nice. And now queen d8, queen g2. An important move to support the push. And now knight d7 to avoid g5. After this, Carlsen need the alpha of the pawn f, so f4 now is important, and now rook c8, try to do something on the queen side in the c file. Now rook e1, because the white now don't need the rook to c1, and the rook go to e1 to help, for example, e4, and c takes, e takes, and bishop a8. Bishop a8 is another mistake, because this bishop on a8 is useless, and now the white can push immediately g5. H takes g5, f takes g5, knight takes, bishop takes, and then c4. Now was an interesting play g6 to attack immediately. The idea is that after f5, the white can play something like that to play for a checkmate. And maybe not immediately, maybe it can be better defend the knight and defend the square g5, but in the future it's possible that, and it will be very hard to avoid the checkmate for black. But Carlsen played another move, knight f3, it's still good, but okay, rook takes e5, bishop d6. And now he played the rook e2, was good. Also queen g4, nice move for white, because if the black will take, it's possible to take with the knight, and the white sacrificed the exchange, but now after g6 will be possible to defend this position for black. An example could be if rook c7, try to defend this position, I play g6, and now no defense, because if the black push, I go for the checkmate, and if king here, I play simply rook f5, rook h5, and this checkmate. So I think it's impossible to defend this position. Carlsen maybe missed this idea, but he played the he played the rook e2, is still winning for white. g6, queen g4, king g7. And now after h4, the threat could be h5, and black played rook h8. But now there is a very wonderful move by Carlsen. He played the rook takes c6, and with this move, the white destroy each defense that try to defend the black king. And after f takes, queen takes e6, and queen e8 seems forced. No other moves, because I don't know if like rook c7, the white can simply play for the mate, because there is knight e5, and for sure the white will make the king. So the only move is queen e8. Carlsen takes the bishop, rook c6, queen e5, And the position is very nice because for white is also possible to trade the queens, because also without the queens the black king is very bad. Rook takes h4, rook f7, king g8, rook c8 forces to defend the bishop, and after bishop g6 the black king is without defense because bishop c6, bishop f7, and now the black is forced to lose the rook because if king f8 and g6, and now you has to resign. If king g7 there is simply bishop e6, and again one rook is lost for sure. So Carlsen won the game, the first game of the tiebreak. Carlsen won also the second game and won the Qatar Masters tournament, one of the strongest open in the world. Thank you for the attention and see you for the next video. Bye. Remember to follow me on social networks and share the video with your friends. Thanks.